I woke up a bit on the grumpy side this morning. My belly was grumbling. It was super dark in my apartment. I guess last night I was a little hungry when I went to bed. I usually have so many snacks to choose from. I eat a lot of fruit, but with this challenge it's a little more difficult because you got to be more systematic. You got to make all your food, and I had some nice snacks like those bananas. But I woke up, I ate some of those muffins. I had a little coleslaw from the burger. That kind of pumped up my energy. I checked my email and I had a bunch of email submissions for original music, which was great because I need music to edit to. The worst thing is editing to shitty music, and it's hard to find original music. So if any of you guys have good music out there, just send it to brothersgreeneating@gmail.com. And yeah, it's day 3. I've got a lot of awesome plans for the rest of the day. I'm going to the dentist now, but when I come back, it's gonna get crazy in the kitchen. It's snowing outside. It's like freaking Empire Strikes Back. It's so weird because March, for anyone who grew up on the Northeast, my birthday was in March, so I always remember it was either super nice, 70 degrees, springtime, beautiful, or snowstorm just like this. And the beginning of the week was great. I was walking early in the morning. It was like in the 50s. Now we got this shit.
Back from the dentist, and today was another full-on glorious day of cooking, which is great because this weekend I'm going to be much busier. So I'm trying to get in as much cooking as I can right now to have those ingredients that I've made, some of the leftovers, kind of just carry me through the weekend. Similar to what I did at lunch today, which was repurposing something I already had from yesterday. You guys saw the burger I made yesterday, which was fantastic. If I had one critique, I would say it was a little bit on the soft side, definitely the patty. The flavors were awesome, but today I was craving something a little more crispier, but I had all these good leftovers. So what I did was made a pizza out of those leftovers. I took the extra dough piece that I had and I rolled it out in oil, and I'll do that instead of rolling it out in flour just to get a crispier crust than normal. I got a pan on medium heat and I threw in the dough, and then I put a lid on that and just let it get crispy for about 5 minutes. I turned it on the other side, let that get crispy, and now you've got this crispy crust. So that's our base right there. I'm down to about 1.5 onions, so I took that half onion and just started slicing that up. I caramelized that up just a little bit. And then I took some of that patty mixture that I had of sweet potato, rice, and black beans and just got that as crispy as I could. So I really cooked that down for about 10 minutes in some oil until it was nice and brown. I took the pizza crust and just slathered on some of that beet ketchup. That was my sauce. Topped it with some of those fried onions, and then a little bit of that sweet potato, black bean, and rice mixture. Sliced it up. That pizza was incredible. It was great for repurposing all those ingredients. I pretty much got rid of everything. I've got a little more beet ketchup, so I'll use that later. But I'm sure you've seen that type of pan pizza out of the Brothers Green a lot. Josh has a video that's super popular about making just a really simple pan pizza with just flatbreads. So you don't even need to use dough if you don't have it. But that was lunch. We're moving on to dinner, and I had my sights set on the ramen noodle, one of my favorite things to make recently. And I was really excited because I was making fresh noodles for the first time. Ramen noodles are very special for one specific reason. They have a high alkaline level. Now I can't tell you what the fuck that means because I'm not a chemist, but I do know that it makes them much chewier and much more addicting. So I was trying to make these alkaline noodles for the first time, and it's basically the same thing as making regular pasta, just flour and water. You're just adding one ingredient, and that's baking soda. I sprinkled some baking soda on a tinfoil sheet and I threw that in the oven at 250 degrees for 1 hour. and something is happening to the baking soda during that hour on low temperature that is creating a substance that makes the noodles more alkaline. I'm not really sure what it is, but I saw it on the internet and it works great. I took 2 teaspoons of that and then I just saved the rest for another time that will store away. And then I mixed that with warm water, about a cup of warm water. Then I took about 2 cups of flour and just mixed that up and started creating my noodle dough. And then I kneaded the dough for about 5 to 10 minutes until it got nice and smooth. I wrapped that up in a little bit of plastic wrap, threw that in the fridge, and I got on to making my broth. Remember all of those scraps I've been saving from my veggies, all the skin and the little nubs, the things that you would normally throw away? Well, that stuff is delicious flavor, and I washed it off and I used it to create a veggie stock. So I dumped it in a pot, added about 4 cups of water to that, hit it with some salt. I also added a little bit of fresh ginger and garlic for an extra kick. I brought that to a boil and just let it simmer for about 30 minutes just to build those delicious flavors. I thought it'd be nice to just chop up a few pieces of carrot and throw that in there. Just steam it in, whole chunks of carrot, and then later on I can chop that up and have that as a topping. At about 30 minutes I tasted it and I was pretty much happy with the flavor, so I strained it all out. I poured the liquid back into the bowl, put it back on the heat, and then I added a little bit of coconut cream. And I didn't explain this before, but I got a thing of coconut cream because it was the same price as coconut milk, and coconut cream will probably last you much longer if you buy a thing of that. I mean, look how much goodness is in there. There's no milk, it's just straight thickness, so it will dilute if you add it to water. So I added about 2 scoops of that and then some soy sauce for some extra salty fermented kick. I took my immersion blender and gave that a good blend just to emulsify all those ingredients that I added. And I tasted it at this point and it was pretty good, but it was still lacking in flavor. So what I did was I actually got some of that apple that I had reserved. It really needed a little bit of sweetness and I just grated that in. And I also added 1 more scoop of coconut cream at this point. And then I tasted it again and it was feeling right to me at that point. Put that on the back burner and I moved on to some of my toppings. And one of my favorite tricks to do is take a block of silken tofu and just throw it in a pan with oil. The pan can be completely cold, and just turn the heat on high and just let that start cooking down. Kind of break it up as you go. And what happens is the moisture starts to draw out. At first it's gonna start bubbling like this. It's basically steaming. But then as it cooks, the moisture starts pulling out and the oil is left. So it starts getting super crispy. And I literally just cooked that for like 15 to 20 minutes. It will start browning over time. Make sure you use a non-stick pan. That will definitely help your cause. And just keep moving it around until it gets nice and brown. Some people call this a tofu scramble. I call it a tofu fry, but I do it all the time and it's freaking awesome. I took the tofu out and I just chopped up about 1/3 of my zucchini that I had and a little bit of radish, and I sauteed those off together as my other topping. So then at that point I was done with my ingredients, so I moved on to rolling out my noodles. The dough came out of the fridge, it was nice and firm. I whipped out my pasta roller, which I haven't used in a while, so I was pretty excited about that. Started rolling it out, getting the dough kind of thin, making sure that I floured up the dough. That's the biggest mistake you can make when you're rolling out any noodles or pasta. If you don't flour the surface, all the noodles are gonna stick together. So I rolled it out nice and thin, and then I put it through the pasta maker, and look at those beautiful ramen noodles. Looking sexy right there. Everything's ready to go. I heated up some boiling water, and I only cooked those noodles for about a minute. That's one thing with ramen noodles, is you do not cook them very long because you want that chewiness. You do not want to overcook them or they get soft and mushy. Done that before. It's just not as fun of an experience. Something about the chewiness is super addicting when it comes to eating a big bowl of ramen. I plated everything up, put some of those noodles right in the middle, hit it with the tofu, hit it with the zucchini and radish, a little bit of that carrot, and then poured over some of that delicious broth. There you go, vegan ramen with homemade noodskis. The first time making the noodles, and it was great. They stuck together a little bit. I'm not exactly sure how to avoid that issue. Maybe someone knows out there. But that was a great day 3. That will probably carry me through the night. I have plenty of leftovers. I've got some leftover vegetables. I've got leftover tofu, leftover noodles, leftover broth. So we'll see how I repurpose that. Maybe eat some of those bananas for a little snacky snack. And I'll see you guys for day 4. It's the weekend.